This is Chris Medeiros. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Medeiros, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both my TikToks. I'll be down there in the description box, and I'm here to do my WWE Monday Night Raw, July 24th, 2023 reviews. Today we're good discussing about tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Now we kick off the show with Finn Balor, Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, and the WWE Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley, the Judgment Day. They come out there, and there was a video package that was showed what happened at NXT with Dominic Mysterio defeating Wesley to become the new NXT North American Champion. So yeah, Rhea Ripley was in there, and she introduces Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio comes up, the fans just booing the hell out of him, and he says that he is everyone's new NXT North American champion. He's a fighting champion and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what Dominic said, and then he says that we got some footage to show, and then all of a sudden it shows the footage of him joining the Judgment Day and being prison dom and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what Dominic was showing. He was showing all his hard work. But yeah, that's what happened there, and the fans just booing the hell out of him up until they get interrupted by the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They come out, and Kevin Owens telling Dominic to shut the hell up because nobody respects him. They all hate him, and they're sick and tired of him, and all that stuff. And then Sami Zayn was like, Dom, the only reason they're being, he said, you're right. Everybody's being disrespectful towards you, and that's because nobody respects you. So yeah, that's what Sami Zayn said. He goes like, well, how about this? You want to have a match? How about me versus you in a match one-on-one tonight? And since y'all threw up a big fuss about defending us defending the tag team titles, how about you defend your title? So yeah, and Rhea Ripley grabs the mic and she says that Dom accepts. So yeah, later on tonight it will be Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North America Championship later on tonight on Monday Night Raw. But yeah, there's much more stuff to come. They got a contract signed in between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins later on tonight. Not only that, Logan Paul will be on Raw, and we'll see Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley one-on-one later on tonight as well. And yeah, some stuff about Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. And up next, we're going to be seeing Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark one-on-one up next on Raw. So yeah, pretty good segment to kick off the show. But yeah, we're going to be seeing the first match up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next segment happens on Monday Night Raw. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, it was a one-on-one match. It was the first match of the night. It was Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark with Trish Stratus at ringside. So yeah, if Becky Lynch defeats Zoe Stark, that gives her a chance to get closer to be facing Trish Stratus at SummerSlam. And if Zoe Stark wins, Becky Lynch don't get that opportunity. So yeah, that's what the match stipulation is all about. And this match, it was a pretty good match between these two women. At one point, we see, at the ending, we see Becky Lynch and Zoe Stark on the top turnbuckle. Becky Lynch a superplex onto Zoe Stark, and then quickly transition to the cross arm breaker onto Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark was fighting out of it and everything, lifts up Becky Lynch and hits a big power bomb onto her. She goes for the pin, but Becky kicked out at 2. And then Zoe Stark climbs up the top turnbuckle, jumps off with the Phoenix Splash. Becky Lynch moves out the way, but Zoe lands on her feet and everything. And then Becky locks on to disarm her onto Zoe Stark, try and make her tap out. And while that was happening, we see Trish Stratus take off the mask and quickly throw it into the ring. So it's distracting the referee and everything. Trish Stratus gets on the ring apron. She gets knocked off the ring apron by Becky Lynch. And then we see Zoe Stark quickly coming up, rolling up Becky Lynch, getting a pin. 1, 2, Becky barely kicking out at 2. Zoe Stark quickly knocks her down and everything. She gets out on the ring apron and jumps off the top rope, and she gets caught by Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch hits the manhandle slam onto her, pinning her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Becky Lynch defeated Zoe Stark tonight on Monday Night Raw. That's what happened. So it gets her a step closer to be facing Trish Stratus at SummerSlam. That's what happened. Really good match, though. I'll give that match 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good match to kick off the show. But yeah, that's what happened there. Later on tonight, there is much more stuff, like Logan Paul will be on Raw tonight. Not only that, we'll see Dominic Mysterio defending the NXT North America Championship up against Sami Zayn tonight. Drew McIntyre and Gunther is going to go face-to-face. There's a contract signed in between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, and a lot more stuff. But up next, we're going to be seeing the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, on Monday Night Raw up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw now, we get the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He comes on out and he tells everybody what do they want to talk about, and then he starts talking about Brock Lesnar in the footage. So yeah, he says that he's seen the footage from last week on Raw, and he says that everybody else seen the footage last week on Raw. And, he says that, Brock Lesnar did beat the hell out of him in front of his mom and in front of Atlanta, Georgia, and all that stuff. That's what he was saying. But then he says at SummerSlam he's going in deal with Brock Lesnar, and he says that everybody's going to be wondering backstage, like, oh, Cody's poking the bear, he's poking the bear. No. He says he's going to be slapping the bear across the face. So yeah, that's what Cody Rhodes said, and they pretty much says that he's going to be seeing Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. But yeah, it was a pretty good promo from Cody Rhodes. If you want to go check it out way more. Like, Cody Rhodes did pretty good with it. But yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff. But then backstage we see that new announcer, Jackie Redmond, backstage as she interviews Ricochet, and Ricochet was talking about Logan Paul, how Logan Paul will be on Monday Night Raw tonight. He says that everything that he got to say to Logan Paul, he's going to go out in the middle of the ring and say it to his face. So yeah, that's what Ricochet said. But yeah, that will be later on tonight, Logan Paul on Monday Night Raw. But up next we're going to be seeing Dominic Mysterio defending the NXT North American Championship up against Sami Zayn one-on-one up next on Raw. So yeah, I think this is the first ever time that the NXT North American Championship is being defended on Raw. But yeah, that match will be happening up next, and there's much more stuff to come later on. Signing a contract signing, and Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan, and a lot more stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Monday Night Raw. See you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Monday Night Raw, it was a one-on-one match. It was the NXT North American Champion Dominic Mysterio with the WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley and the Mr. Money in the Bank Damian Priest of Judgment Day versus Sami Zayn, one half of the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion Sami Zayn with Kevin Owens at ringside. So yeah, Dominic Mysterio is taking on Sami Zayn in a one-on-one match for the NXT North American Championship. Pretty good match, though, for the most part. It was going back and forth between these two guys. At one point, we see Sami Zayn on the top turnbuckle while the referee is distracted by Rhea Ripley. Damian Priest pushes Sami Zayn off the top turnbuckle. Kevin Owens gets pissed off, and he knocks Damian Priest off the ring apron, and the referee notices, like, Sami Zayn's down and all that stuff, but then he kicks Kevin Owens out for ringside, and then we see Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest just laughing their asses off, and they get kicked out of ringside as well. So yeah, Dominic had to go all alone in this match, and it was going back and forth between these two guys. At one point we see see Sami Zayn try to hit the Blue Thunderbomb, and Dominic reversed into a nice Hurricane Rana, which was pretty cool at one point. At one point, we see Sami Zayn actually finally successfully hit the Blue Thunderbomb onto Dominic, and he pins him, but Dominic barely kicked out at 2. Dominic at one point knocked Sami Zayn on the second turnbuckle. I mean, not on the second turnbuckle, on the second rope, and then he hits him with a 619. He goes for the pin. 1, 2. Sami Zayn barely kicked out at 2. And Dominic was taking control of this match at the ending, like hitting the 3 Amigos, and then he was setting up for the Frog Splash at one point. He jumps off the top turnbuckle, but Sami Zayn puts his knees up, and then Dominic runs at Sami Zayn at one point, and Sami Zayn catches him and hits the Exploder Suplex onto him in the corner, and then he's setting up for the Helluva Kick, and then all of a sudden, we notice Kevin Owens getting laid out on the ramp by Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. So yeah, they laid out Kevin Owens on the stage, and then Sami Zayn was distracted by that, and that's when Dominic rolls up Sami Zayn to get the 3 count. So yeah, Dominic Mysterio defeated Sami Zayn tonight in a one-on-one match, and he has retained the NXT North American Championship. That's what happened. Pretty good match, though. I'll give that match 3 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty good one. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Monday Night Raw. See you guys later until then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw. Now, before we talk about the next match of the night, we got to talk about a few segments or whatever. So we see Kevin Owens all hurt and everything, and Sami Zayn and Adam Pearce is just checking on him and everything. He's just complaining and all that stuff. So yeah, that was happening there. And then we see what happened on Friday Night SmackDown with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and all that stuff. They showed replay and all that stuff. But then after that, we see Ricochet walking up to Shinsuke Nakamura, asking if he tells him, if you see Logan Paul here tonight, tell me. And Shinsuke was like, yeah, all right, cool. And Ricochet walks away, and then Tommaso Ciampa comes up and he goes like, hey, I mean, I understand why you kicked me in the face last week, and you know what, I'll let that slide because I deserved it. But just saying, if you walk out there during my match against Bronson Reed tonight, we're going to have a problem. So yeah, that's what Tommaso Ciampa said to Shinsuke Nakamura. But then we get to the next segment backstage where we see Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio walking, and then they run into Apollo Crews and Akira Tozawa, and they're laughing and all that stuff, and Rhea Ripley looks at Tozawa and says, do you got a problem? He just walks away, and Apollo Crews just looks at Damian Priest. He goes like, you know what, I'm just getting sick and tired of all y'all. He says, how about this, later on tonight, me and you one-on-one. So yeah, later on tonight, Apollo Crews versus Damian Priest one-on-one. But then we finally get to the match. Tommaso Ciampa versus Bronson Reed one-on-one, and yeah, this match was a pretty good match. So yeah, with this match, it was going back and forth and everything. Tommaso Ciampa was doing a lot of stuff to try to take Bronson Reed down. And yeah, Bronson Reed was just not going down majority of the time. Like, Tommaso Ciampa was hitting knees to the face and discus forearms and all that stuff. And Bronson Reed was not going down. But then we started getting towards the end of the match, where we see Tommaso Ciampa quickly jump up in the air, hitting a jumping knee to the face onto Bronson Reed. Reed bounces off the ropes, but still standing and all that stuff, but just pretty much knocked around. And then that's when Tommaso Ciampa picks up Bronson Reed onto his shoulders, and then he hits the white noise onto him. He goes for the pin. 1, 2. Bronson Reed barely kicking out at 2, and then all of a sudden, Tommaso Ciampa's trying to grab Bronson Reed, but then he sees Shinsuke Nakamura coming out, walking down the ramp and all that stuff. Ciampa's outside the ring, and he's distracted by that. He turns around, Bronson Reed jumps off the ring apron with a shoulder block onto him, knocking him down. Reed throws him back into the ring. He climbs at the top turnbuckle, jumps off with the tsunami onto Tommaso Ciampa, and then he pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Bronson Reed defeated Tommaso Ciampa in a one-on-one match tonight. For that match, I'll give it 3 stars as well. It was a pretty good match. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then we get to backstage where we see Byron Saxton interviewing Liv Morgan backstage, and Liv Morgan was talking about how she is sick and tired of Rhea Ripley and all that stuff. And she says that if everybody remembers that she was the last person to actually beat Rhea Ripley in a match. So yeah, that's what Liv Morgan says, and she says that she's going to handle Rhea Ripley tonight. But yeah, that's what she says, and then she walks away, and then we see the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green, coming up, and they was talking about how, Byron, why are you going to interview Liv Morgan? And Byron was like, well, I interviewed y'all last week, and they said, no, we're the champions, you should be interviewing us, and all that stuff. And then the WWE Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley, comes walking up, and then Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville quickly dipped out, and Rhea Ripley says that she's going to handle Liv Morgan just like how she handled Raquel Rodriguez last week. So yeah, that's what she said, and yeah, that match will be up next. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley one-on-one. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Monday Night Raw. See you guys later until then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we was going to get to the next match of the night. It was going to be the WWE Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan one-on-one in a non-title match. And yeah, Liv Morgan makes her entrance way down to the ring and stuff. Actually, before I talk about that, I forgot to mention one segment backstage where we actually see Seth Rollins talking to Adam Pearce, talking about the contract and stuff. So yeah, Adam Pearce will show him the contract and everything like that. But yeah, then we get to the match. Well, it's supposed to be a match. Liv Morgan makes her way down to the ring, and as soon as she was about to get into the ring, she gets attacked from the side by Rhea Ripley. Ripley was there just beating her down and everything, throwing her into the barricade and everything, grabs a steel chair, tosses her into the ring. puts a steel chair around her arm and starts stomping on it and everything. Bunch of referees and officials had to pull her back and stuff from Liv Morgan, and yeah. Rhea Ripley was just, not having it or anything, and then she just has the steel chair back on her arm again, and then it just keeps on stomping on it multiple times. So yeah, Liv Morgan was crying out in pain, Rhea Ripley was just standing there laughing. But yeah, that's what happened there. The match never happened, just Rhea Ripley playing out Liv Morgan. But yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good segment though. But yeah, still to come later on tonight, we will see Finn Balor and Seth Rollins doing a contract signing later on tonight on Raw. And yeah, just much more stuff later on tonight. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next segment happens on Monday Night Raw. See you guys later until then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw. Now, before we talk about the next segment with Ricochet and Logan Paul, we gotta talk about a few things backstage. So yeah, we see Liv Morgan, she's injured and all that stuff, and she's crying and everything, and everybody's just trying to check up on her. So yeah, that was going on there. But then we get to another segment from backstage where we see Chad Gable, Otis, and Maxine Dupree. Alpha Academy backstage, and Chad Gable was talking about how he don't even know this stupid Viking rules match or whatever, but he says that they put his head through a shield last week, and he says that he wants to put their heads through some chalkboards. So yeah, that's what Chad Gable said. And then Maxine Dupree says that that Valhalla only got one thing over her, and that was from last week, and she says that will never happen again because next week on Raw she'll be having her first singles match against Valhalla. So yeah, that's what Maxine Dupree said, and then you got Otis saying yeah. So yeah, that's what happened there. But then we get to the next segment where we see Ricochet make his way down there to the ring, and Ricochet has some stuff to say, talking about how Logan Paul is very talented and all that stuff, and what happened to him a few weeks ago on Raw and Money in the Bank and everything. But then he says that, even though Logan Paul does pretty good in the ring and all that stuff, he says that this place is not meant for him. He's not supposed to be here and all of that stuff. So yeah, that's what Ricochet was talking about. He says he's getting tired of people like Logan Paul running here, acting like they run the place and all that stuff. And he says he's challenging Logan Paul to a match at SummerSlam. And while he was saying that, all of a sudden we see Logan Paul coming up, doing a little sneak attack on Ricochet from behind, hitting him in the back of the head. He grabs his phone and all that stuff, video recording and all that stuff, talking crap to the fans, calling him a fan virgin and all that stuff, after Ricochet done call him a prick. But yeah, that's what Logan Paul was saying. But then Logan Paul turns around, he gets hit with a super kick by Ricochet, and then Ricochet is standing there, and he's a standing shooting star press onto Logan Paul, laying him out. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good segment though. But then after that, we see Jackie Redmond interviewing Shayna Baszler backstage, and Shayna Baszler was talking about her match against Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam, and she says that their match is just going to be a fight. So yeah, that's what Shayna Baszler said. But yeah, up next it'll be Damian Priest versus Apollo Crews 1-on-1 up next on Raw. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, it was a 1-on-1 match, but before we talk about that match, we gotta talk about a segment backstage where we see Byron Saxton catching up to Logan Paul. And yeah, Logan Paul was talking about how he's getting sick and tired of Ricochet. He says he's going to be seeing Ricochet next Monday on Raw. So yeah, that's what he says. He says he's going to slap his bald head just like this. And slapped Byron Saxton in the head. So yeah, that was pretty funny right there. But yeah, Logan Paul will be on Raw next week. And then we finally get to the next match. It was Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest versus Apollo Crews 1-on-1. As soon as Apollo Crews got into the ring and stuff, and they're setting up for the match, Damian Priest starts attacking Apollo Crews and stuff, kicking him in the face. But then we finally get the match underway. Damian Priest is taking control of this match. Apollo Crews is coming back a little bit, like at one point. Damian Priest is trying to choke slam him, and Apollo does a backflip and lands on his feet and kicked him upside the head and everything. So yeah, Crews is trying to do everything to take out Priest. But eventually, it was not enough because Priest kicks him upside the head, grabs him by the arms, trapping his arms and everything, hitting a vicious lariat onto Apollo Crews, lifts him up and hits South of Heaven onto him, pinning him for the 3 count. So yeah, Damian Priest defeated Apollo Crews tonight on Monday Night Raw. That's what happened for that match. I'll give it 2 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty decent match. But yeah, that's what happened there. And then after that, we see Becky Lynch getting interviewed backstage by Byron Sexton, and Becky Lynch was talking about how good it felt to defeat Zoe Stark, as she's getting one step closer to getting her hands on Trish Stratus to SummerSlam. So yeah, that's what Becky Lynch said. But yeah, up next, we're going to be seeing the Intercontinental Champion Gunther going face-to-face with Drew McIntyre up next. And still to come later on tonight, we'll see Seth Rollins doing the contract signing with Finn Balor later on tonight as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Monday Night Raw. See you guys later until then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the next segment of the night, but the segment led into a match. So it was the Intercontinental Champion Gunther with Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci, Imperium with them, and he got to go face-to-face with Drew McIntyre. So yeah, Drew McIntyre makes his way out there, and McIntyre and Gunther goes face-to-face, and Drew McIntyre pretty much challenges Gunther to a match for the Intercontinental Championship, and he says tonight. And Drew McIntyre was like, yeah, you definitely, I told you tonight. And Gunther was like, nah, we'll wait until SummerSlam. So yeah, the match was now made official at SummerSlam. It will be Drew McIntyre versus Gunther 1-on-1 for the Intercontinental Championship. But then Ludwig Kaiser comes up and he says that he wants to have a fight with Drew McIntyre tonight. And McIntyre pretty much accepted. So yeah, we'll get to a match. Drew McIntyre versus Ludwig Kaiser 1-on-1. Gunther and Giovanni Vinci's at ringside for this match. And yeah, this match, it was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth between Ludwig Kaiser and Drew McIntyre. At one point, we see McIntyre hit like a white noise off the second turnbuckle and stuff. Almost getting a 3 count, but Kaiser kicked out at 2. But then we started getting towards the end of the match where we see Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore onto Ludwig Kaiser, and then he pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Drew McIntyre defeated Ludwig Kaiser tonight in a 1-on-1 match. For that match, I'll give it 3 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty good match. But then, after the match ended, Imperium starts attacking Drew McIntyre after the match, beating him down and everything. Matt Riddle comes running down, trying to make the save, and he's going at it with Imperium a little bit, hitting some knees to the face and everything. But then Gunther comes up, hitting him with a chop and a big boot and everything, and then he hits the powerbomb onto Matt Riddle, laying him out. Gunther then throws Drew McIntyre out of the ring, starts destroying the announce table, trying to hit the powerbomb onto him through the announce table, but then McIntyre hits the back body drop onto him onto the floor, and then McIntyre grabs Gunther and then powerbombs him through the announce table, which looked pretty vicious. So yeah, that's what happened there. Gunther got laid out. But yeah, pretty good match, and what happened after the match was pretty good stuff. I'll give it all 3 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was great stuff. But yeah, at SummerSlam, it will be Gunther versus Drew McIntyre 1-on-1 for the Intercontinental Championship. And yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we see Jackie Redmond interviewing Ronda Rousey backstage, and Ronda Rousey was talking about how she is going to beat the hell out of Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam, and it's just going to be a fight right there. So yeah, that's what she said. But yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff. And then we see Finn Balor making his way down to the ring, because up next, it'll be the last segment of the night. It will be Finn Balor and Seth Rollins doing a contract signing, setting up for their match at SummerSlam. So yeah, that will be up next. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Monday Night Raw, we get to the last segment of the night where we see Finn Balor. He make his way down there to the ring, and he starts talking about how he wants Seth Rollins to come out so they can do the contract signing to make their match official for SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship. Finn Balor seems pretty excited about it. So yeah, the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins comes down. They both signed the contract and everything. So yeah, the match is now made official. At SummerSlam, the World Heavyweight Championship will be defended with them two. But yeah, Seth Rollins was talking about Finn Balor, talking about how Finn Balor will lose at SummerSlam, and he will beat him, and he'll make sure and everything that he will walk out and retain the World Heavyweight Championship. That's what Seth Rollins was talking about. And Finn Balor kind of got upset about that, and Seth was talking about, like, oh, you thought your title reign with the Universal Championship was very short with only holding it for, like, 1 day. He says, even if you beat me, just know your friend Damian Priest will probably cash in the Money in the Bank contract, and your title reign as world champion will probably be way shorter than the Universal Championship run. So yeah, that's what Seth Rollins said, and that kind of pissed off Finn Balor so much, and Balor grabs the mic and somehow he's going to beat the hell out of Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. He says he got something for Seth Rollins now. And then all of a sudden we see Dominic Mysterio, Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley coming up through the crowd and everything that's surrounding the ring with Seth Rollins in it. And they all get into the ring attacking Seth Rollins, beating the hell out of him and everything. And then we see Sami Zayn coming running down with a steel chair, trying to fight him off, hitting Finn Balor and Damian Priest and all of them with a steel chair. But eventually the numbers caught up to him. They start beating the hell out of Sami Zayn as well, laying him out. And then we see Damian Priest grabbing Seth Rollins, hitting the Razor's Edge onto him, laying him out. And then we see Dominic Mysterio climb up the top turnbuckle, and he jumps off with a big frog splash onto Seth Rollins. And then Finn Balor climbed up the top turnbuckle, and he jumps off with a coup de grace onto Seth Rollins, laying him out. And yeah, all of them just standing tall. So yeah, the Judgment Day was standing tall. And there was one point where we see Damian Priest actually hit Seth Rollins upside the head with the Money in the Bank contract, and Priest was just looking at the contract like wanting to cash in. Finn Balor looked at him like, you better not, type shit. So yeah, that was pretty cool right there, and that was actually before Sami Zayn came running down. But yeah, pretty good segment though. That was a really great one for match of the night. I probably gotta say it was probably Becky Lynch and Zoe Stark. That match was pretty good, and there was some good matches though, like Tommaso Ciampa, Bronson Reed and stuff. But yeah, pretty good stuff. For tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw, I'll give it 8.5 stars. That's why I'll give it. It was a pretty good episode. But yeah, that has been my Monday Night Raw reviews. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Videos, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. I'll be down there in the description box, and I'll see you guys later for this Wednesday's AEW Dynamite reviews. See you guys later. Until then.